So now it's my pleasure to introduce your next president-elect. For those of you who know Ted Sherwin, it is very obvious that he is very passionate about our profession and the issues that affect his fellow dentists. His dedication to the success of our association is an important part of his professional life. He is a 1984 graduate of the VCU School of Dentistry and has been a solo practitioner of general dentistry in Orange for 26 years. And he's been a faithful Medicaid provider and a well-recognized member of his community. Ted and his wife, Suzanne, and Suzanne, please stand while we got the opportunity. Ted's wife. Suzanne and his son, Dean, have made Orange their home. It is my pleasure to introduce our next president-elect, Dr. Ted Sherwin.
Thank you, Kirk. Is the volume okay here? I may be a little loud and I can't control it, so I'll try to keep it down. Talk loud. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Well, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, distinguished guests, Board of Directors, members of the House, and special guests, it is truly a great honor to address you today as President-elect of the Virginia Dental Association. Having served a number of years as an officer, a member of this House, I am very aware of the privilege and responsibility that you are bestowing on me today. I would like to recognize a few of the individuals who have played an important part of my journey. And Kirk, I'm sorry that I'm going to do this, but first I have to talk about Kirk Norbo. We have all known Kirk as a leader with passion, integrity, commitment to living and practicing by our ethical standards. And that's the standards that make us the great profession that we are. But Kirk took leadership to a new level this year by helping us understand the significance of building a new value proposition, including progress that will help our members be more successful in our business side of practice. We also saw how his experience at Oral Roberts School of Dentistry gave him a unique perspective that helped our deliberations concerning the new dental school in Bluefield. These few words don't do justice to what Kirk has given in heart and passion to this profession. Each of us, fortunate enough to work with Kirk, are in his debt because we have seen his work and devotion to this profession on a daily basis. For this and so much more, Kirk, we thank you, and it has been a privilege serving with you. I'd like to also thank Terry and the staff. Every day I appreciate the skill, experience, and passion for our team at headquarters, whether it's a warm and helpful voice on the phone or an email. Our members see only the tip of the iceberg of the hard work and dedication put forward by this marvelous team each day. Terry, please accept my thanks and gratitude for all the wonderful things that our staff does. I'd also like to thank Component 7 for giving me an opportunity to be serving at this level and the encouragement over the years. And I see a good friend of mine, Ron Downing, he and I have served so many years. Ron, it's good to see you here. And Rick, I thank you for all your encouragement over the years. I'd also like to thank my staff. Each of us knows that the more we volunteer, the more challenging it is for our staff and our practices. I have a staff that I'm so very proud of, the amazing things that each of you do for our patients and our practices on a daily basis. I'd like to recognize each of you. My son, Dean. Dean, would you stand up? I think you're here. And then, thanks. And then Helen. Helen, please stand up. And just stay standing, Dean. And then Tina and Bettina, makes it interesting, Melissa, and Suzanne. And we are truly a family practice in our office. Helen is my niece, and then obviously Dean and Suzanne work in the office. Thank you all very much for everything that you do. I'd like to take that special moment, a special privilege, to thank Suzanne, my wife, for all her years of support of my commitment to organized dentistry. But you know, what's funny is that when I go back to Orange County, I have the honor of being Suzanne's escort. Everyone knows her because of her extensive volunteer work, and I am her husband, the dentist. I'm extremely proud of the work she does in our community. For instance, this year Suzanne chaired the gala for the Boys and Girls Club, and in one night she and her committee netted over $100,000 in contributions for the boys and girls in our small rural county. At events like these, I like to think that I'm the eye candy on her arm. Suzanne, I look forward to celebrating our 30th anniversary in just a few short days. Thank you. Has this ever happened to you? You've been in a place in life where you feel like things are going well, you feel successful and able to manage most of the things that you need to. And then for reasons beyond your control, everything gets turned upside down. Life becomes filled with uncertainty, hard challenges, and big risks. If you're like me, that can be a scary time, and I remember a time like that for me. I was in my second year at William & Mary, and I felt successful there. Had great friends, involved in lots of activities. It was a safe community. William & Mary was a good home for me. And then things changed. My parents were transferred to Florida. I learned that my junior year I wouldn't qualify for in-state tuition, and I had worked long and hard to save my money for college and would not be able to afford out-of-state tuition. At first, arriving at Florida State University, where I didn't know a soul, felt daunting and directionless. There were times this 20-year-old wondered if the best times in my life were behind me. But through my junior year, I began to realize that transitions, though challenging, difficult, can be navigated by determining a new direction and learning how to adapt to all those changes. Change is now everywhere in our profession. The Great Recession that we've talked about beginning in 2008 has altered our profession in a multitude of ways, including the way we practice, our retirement age, job prospects for young dentists, funding for our dental schools, just to name a few. And then on top of that, but not related to the Great Recession, as Chuck was telling us, are the shifting demographics, declining dental incomes, corporate dentistry, and increases in the number of dental schools. No matter where you look, change is everywhere, and we, VDA leaders, must recognize these trends and how they impact us and determine which are most difficult for our profession, our association, and our members. For example, the continuing decline that we've talked about in membership and market share can end organized dentistry. Take a look at this future projection of market share, and by using our actual numbers, if we stay on this current trend, this downward slope of market penetration, we become less relevant to the public. We become less relevant to policymakers, and we become less relevant to those who want to change our profession. We can already hear the constant drumbeat from the nonprofits like Pew and Kellogg competing with our profession, both at the legislature and for public opinion. We have seen state associations successfully thwart some of these large nonprofits in legislative battles, only to become battered in the court of public opinion. We are rapidly losing our voice as the expert in oral health, and we are struggling to maintain our reputation and our credibility among the public and in the public policy arena. With these and an abundance of disruptive changes to our successes of the past, many have argued if the best of our profession is behind us. Our time may be looked at as the sunset of our profession. If this is true, where do we go from here? How do we find our new direction? The often repeated quote, "It's not the strongest of the species that survive or the most intelligent, it's the one that's most adaptable," seems to strike the right mark. As intimidating as it feels, we must embrace change in order to adapt and survive our current challenges. Last April, there was the first of its kind, a VDA President's Forum. We met and discussed a long list of VDA's future and current challenges and identified those that are keys to our success. The most problematic were no surprise: stop decline in membership, maintain or improve our advocacy efforts, build our own reputation within and outside our association, and finally, develop leadership. We believe that improvement in these 5 interrelated challenges are critical to the future of the VDA. Each of these challenges is strongly related to one or more of the VDA priorities passed by this House last year. Because these are each such critical issues, I'd like to discuss them individually. Our first and most important challenge, and always will be, membership. I believe that we're finally ready to look at membership in a new way. What brought dentists to our fold and kept us in the past no longer works. The problem is not one you solve, but where victory lies in small improvements in membership over time. To do that, we need a new value proposition, one that works for all members, but particularly the younger dentist. This year, the 4th priority that you see on this screen will be our number 1 goal. As part of the membership goal, we have rolled out the PR campaign as our first cornerstone in building a new value proposition. I hope that you'll agree with me that this first year of the PR campaign has been a success. The second cornerstone is to build a substantial web-based resource center that can provide a quick reference to help dentists be successful throughout their careers. And I ask for your support of the board's resolution to fund this endeavor. During the next year, the board will be working on these and other value propositions to stem the tide of membership losses. Our second challenge is to maintain or improve our advocacy efforts. This is something the VDA currently does so well that without a doubt, every member knows that we've got their back. We are blessed to team up with one of the most gifted lobbyist firms in Virginia, headed by Chuck Duvall. This year, I will challenge the board to develop a plan to improve our PAC fund and legislative efforts by 5%, so we have the ability to be even more effective. The third challenge is to improve our reputation and credibility with the public and in the public policy arena. This coming year, we will celebrate 15 years of public service through MOM projects. Our passion for public service, along with VDA's leadership and collaboration, is why Virginia is best in class within the ADA on access issues. But outside our profession, few know of VDA's incredible story, and we have got to change that. I will ask the board to create a plan that will set us on a course to build our public credibility and reputation, because winning our legislative battles at the expense of our relationship with the public is not success. I believe that in today's environment, our profession is linked to the work we do for the public and their perception of us. The fourth challenge that we will address this year is building a sense of pride at being a VDA member. To do this, I believe we need to work on the following 3 things: building a strong value proposition, developing a short and simple message that tell members and non-members the value of membership, and finally, instilling a sense of pride that we belong to something special. I will task the board with developing a plan to pull all this together in order to build a better sense of pride. The fifth and final challenge this year will be to research and develop an ongoing leadership training and identification of new leaders. By providing leadership training to our members, we will establish a member benefit that will see dentists become more effective in their contributions to their practices, their communities, and the profession. I will ask the board to have a plan as soon as possible. I commit to you that we will make progress on these important challenges this next year. The board will formulate a plan, we'll have timelines, we'll have activities, and this will be done at the November board retreat. We will involve the staff in preparing this plan, and we will have a team approach to complete this plan in 1 year, by September 2014. Now, the accomplishment of our efforts depends on you. I am going to ask each of you to commit today to at least 3 of the following objectives. Mentor a younger dental student or dentist. Elevate your PAC contribution. Improve your relationship with your state, local legislators. Host a fundraiser. Accept and treat 5 Medicaid patients. Serve on a mom project. Recruit a new leader. Or maybe most important, recruit a new member. Many years ago, very early in my career, I learned about the power of transformation in a very personal way, and it came from an 8-year-old girl in pain. What I learned about oral health issues in my community 20 years ago turned into a passion that still burns strongly for me today. Now, this story began at the end of a very busy workday. We were closing up our office, looking forward to being home with our families, when my patient coordinator tells me that there's a mother and a young girl, Geraldine, who's in pain. No one else would see them. Now, this was a cold, rainy, dark winter evening, and they were soaking wet, had no money. Of course, we seated them. And over the next few weeks and months of completing Geraldine's treatment, I realized that for some in my community, there is no safety net. Now, maybe you're like me. You know you can't change the world, but we can make a difference in our own communities. Geraldine was a transformative figure for me. She was calm, courageous, and bright, and her mother was desperately looking to elevate her opportunities in life. Today, Geraldine is a working mother and a student completing her master's in nursing. Through this young girl, I learned and met about another part of my community and realized that as a dentist, I could make a profound difference. A few weeks ago, Geraldine came into the office, and we hugged, and we had a special kind of twinkle in our eyes that said how deeply we understood we changed each other's life. This experience taught me that my relationships with my community, my practice, my patients are all interdependent. And it's through these relationships that we as dentists can participate in a rich texture of life that keeps us vibrant, growing, successful, and renewed throughout our careers. My friends, change is all around us. Excuse me. Adapting to these changes should no longer be just a conversation, but an act of survival with direction. We are in a transition from a time of great past success to a place of disruptive change, filled with new uncertainties, hard challenges involving hard risks. The leap we must make to adapt can feel daunting. But we need not look back too far to find an example of just how well we do during tough times where we had to adapt. Just a few years ago, our world was turned upside down when the VDA faced 2 events. The first was the 2008 market crash and the ensuing economic roller coaster ride, and how that impacted our financial stability. And then, as if that weren't enough, in 2010, a fire took out our headquarters and along with it, our sense of well-being. Nevertheless, by the end of 2011, we saw that though it endured 2 catastrophic events, our total financial net assets had nearly doubled, and we were successfully in our new building. Today, we look back with appreciation at the amazing leaders of our past 144 years and how they overcame the challenges of their day. Yet, we here today have our own time. Ours is not a sunset, but rather a sunrise. We will have a new direction in November as the board will have a strategic plan. Emboldened by our ability to adapt successfully to dramatic events just a few short years ago, our new tasks seem less daunting, and our focus becomes getting the job done now. I promise you that I will do my part, and I ask you to do yours. Together, we'll face new challenges, we'll create new solutions, and transform ourselves into a model of success in today's environment. The VDA family will take care of and safeguard its own. It will help our members be successful. It instills pride in our membership, and it secures our members' and associations' reputation. And it helps those who need our help the most, like my good friend and patient, Geraldine. We are blessed to be in a profession where we can each take part of the rich texture of life. We are on our way to success this year, and we will continue to transform ourselves such that next September, when we meet again, we can have that twinkle in our eyes, knowing that working together, everyone doing their part, we have made a difference in each other's lives, in our communities, and in our profession. Thank you.